Hello, you're watching Stretford Paddock. We are here for some transfer news, some paper talk, pretty much a bit of everything. The main story today then is that Bruno Fernandes should be in attendance at Anfield on Sunday after playing against Benfica on Friday. It looks as though Sporting are trying to sort of delay this transfer to the point where he just plays against Benfica on Friday because they want him to play in that game because it's a big game for him, which you can kind of understand on one hand. Obviously, it's frustrating for us as United fans. Every day that passes, there's a little sense of resignation, perhaps, that is this going to happen? Is he going to get injured? What's going on? We've had all this before. But it does look as though all the big players, in terms of reporters and in terms of the clubs and all that kind of thing, are either not denying it in the way you want them to, like United aren't denying this one, like they were in the summer. People like Simon Stone, the BBC, Sky Sports to a lesser extent, but they are going with it as well, just not quite as reliable maybe. Everyone is saying that United are interested in Bruno Fernandes. Everyone is saying that this one is getting close to being done. Fernandes wants to go to United. United want Fernandes. Do they want Rojo? Do they want Pereira? Do they want the other Pereira? Do they want... Who knows exactly what's going on, but it does seem as though this one is going to come to an end after that Benfica game. If we don't hear anything after that, I'm going to freak out, quite frankly, because we've been promised now for over a week that this one is happening. It's following this a sort of typical structure of United transfers where it kind of comes out of nowhere a little bit, or it doesn't come out of nowhere, but then it looks like it goes from zero to like, this is nearly done. And then it goes from this is nearly done to being done in about a month. So we're in that period now where it seems as though everyone knows it's going to happen, and yet nothing seems to be progressing. We sort of are we arguing over a fee? They want these add-ons. We don't want to give it to them. We're going to pay the add-ons, aren't we? Every transfer comes with add-ons these days. Probably stuff like him getting not nominated for Ballon d'Or, us winning titles. They're always pretty high-end stuff. I think Martial's still got a Ballon d'Or clause in his transfer fee. So there's stuff like that I'm sure United will be sort of needling over and trying to get the details sorted on. But I think generally this one seems to be done. And this is Ebola, which not related to the infectious disease, report that talks have progressed at such a pace that Fernandes is almost certain to complete a move to Old Trafford this winter. I like how the speed at which the talks take place dictates which window he comes in. If it's a slow conversation, then it'd have been summer. How slow does it have to be that it takes a month to make these talks done? I don't think it's particularly frantic or, unusually quick to be able to sign a player in a month. But apparently the talks have progressed at such a pace that Fernandes is almost certain to complete a move to Old Trafford this winter. But Sporting are adamant that the Portugal international will feature in their derby match with Benfica on Friday night. What are you going to do about it? There's not really a lot we can do about that, is there? I think if he's Sporting's player, if they want him to play, and they don't sell him to us before then I guess he's going to play. So despite how much we'd like him to be playing for us at Anfield, it looks as though he might well be in attendance again. It goes on to say, however, the publication claims that Fernandes could well be in attendance at Anfield on Sunday afternoon as runaway league leaders, forget about that bit, play host to the Red Devils. So it looks as though he's going to be in the stands. You know when you see a new manager sat there in the stands and the camera's on him more than it's actually on the game? We might see a little bit of that should Fernandes be in attendance at Anfield on Sunday. Obviously, that's the main story today. Looking as though this transfer is close to being done. They just want him to play one more game. Just play one more game for us. He's going to get injured, isn't he? Or he's going to get something's going to happen during that game. Someone's going to try and kidnap him, or something's going to happen. Just bloody pay the money, but it's Woodward who is the problem. Well, we don't know who the problem in this particular transfer is, do we? I suppose we don't know. I don't. I mean, of course, you would assume if there is a problem, which again we don't really know that there is a problem. That is, it's Woodward and Matt Judge who are in charge of the transfers. But I'm not quite sure what the problem is or if there is one. I think maybe Sporting are just digging their heels in because they want him to play in a derby. It probably increases their chances of winning quite substantially, being, let's be honest, their best player and one of the best players in the league, maybe the best player in the Portuguese league. So I think any team would like to have him for a big game like that. Like just how we would like him to play against Liverpool, they want him to play against Benfica. So you can kind of see why this one is taking slightly longer than we would like it to. Exactly, don't be misleading with the title. Well, the news is that he will be at Anfield on Sunday. So we're just reporting what people are saying. Moving on, then let's go on to our next bit of news. We're talking about we've got a few different things. We've got Marcus Rashford's injury. Add that to the list of injuries. We've got McTominay, we've got Pogba, we've got Rashford of our sort of first choice players. We've got Luke Shaw, who's injured as well. We've got who else? Rojo is Rojo injured? Twanzebe's injured. Bailly's injured. It was a lot of backs and knees and ankles from what we saw on the TV before. But yeah, there's add a back and potentially a knee injury to Marcus Rashford there. It's a strange one. Obviously, Solskjaer talked after the game. He said, I didn't want to play him. He got a knock to his knee and his back. He's been struggling for a little while, which I wonder how long a little while is, because that suggests to me that didn't happen in the last game. That's been a little while. Who knows? Is that 3 days? Is that 2 months? Because it looked like he was sort of struggling a little bit earlier on in the season, and then he seems to have overcome any sort of injury, and then a little while's a slightly strange quote to me. But then Solskjaer went on to say, that's why we kept him away, but we needed the win. It backfired. We will do anything we can to get him fit for Sunday. So let me know in the comments what you think to this, because this has been quite a polarising one from what I've seen on social media and online. Some people think if you're remotely injured, you shouldn't be in the squad at all. Some people think, it's worth the risk. We need to get through. We don't have many chances to win silverware. We needed our best players available. I think this one thing to take into account is that whenever you hear retired players talking about their time as players and their injuries as players don't play too many games in their career with zero injuries, whether it's a swollen this, a broken this, a twisted this, or just a nick or a twinge or something. Players regularly play with injections or just through the pain barrier. And that's not uncommon at all. But obviously, United have had a track record this season of playing players who seemingly aren't fit and aggravating those injuries. We've seen it twice with Paul Pogba in one season. We've seen it now with Marcus Rashford. Do you think he should have been risked in the game yesterday? Let me know in the comments what you think to that, because it's a difficult one. If he'd have come on and he'd have scored and he'd have been fine, then there would have been no problems. But there was quite a heavy challenge. I think it was with Neto, but I can't remember exactly. Somewhere on the halfway line, someone sort of came through the back of him, and it looked to have aggravated that kind of knee back injury. It was quite a heavy collision. Langaruni says those players retire at 30. No, not necessarily. Like Ronaldo has reportedly been playing with pain in his knees for about 10 years now, and he hasn't retired yet. Ice baths and injections and not doing certain types of movement training, that kind of thing, have long been rumoured with Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think the idea of players playing with pain isn't new by any means. So it's just what you're willing to accept and what levels of pain are acceptable. And it does seem to be, I wouldn't necessarily say a weakness, but maybe a sort of a bit of a blind spot almost with our coaching and our fitness team, that we get a lot more injuries than most teams, and some of that is down to having injury-prone players. But it's an interesting one. Like I said, I don't know enough about the ins and outs of exactly who's injured, how injured they are. But it's strange that United have been in the sort of top 2 or 3 for injuries for the last 5 seasons. And other teams seem to have sort of come in and out of that injury table. Francis Cole says, can't hear you, mate. We'll just check if the mics are all right, but I think it should be fine. Please, when is he coming? Assuming you're talking about Bruno Fernandes, it looks to be after the Benfica game on Friday. Sporting play Benfica on Friday, and it looks as though he will be joining Manchester United after that. I'm sure in that time, because now we've got, what is it, sort of 48 hours-ish, we will see Chelsea gazump United to Bruno Fernandes. We will see Sporting want more money. We'll see all variations and iterations of articles suggesting that United haven't managed to get this deal done. So, you can bet your life you're going to see Tottenham are going to get Fernandes instead. Chelsea are going to get Fernandes instead. All of those kind of stories that always come out whenever there seems to be a time frame that's put on a transfer. That this can't get done before the Benfica game. Between now and then, you can be sure you'll see, evidence suggesting that he won't be joining United. But it does look, for all intents and purposes, that that deal has been sort of concluded, at least to the point where you can be kind of, I don't want to be say certain by any means, but confident that he will join Man United and like I said, be present at Anfield potentially as well. Roy Keane said he wished he'd rested his injuries like Van Nistelrooy did. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of players play with injuries, and it's like Michael Owen's a perfect example. Obviously, he's on the sort of more kind of heartbreaking, if you want to call it that, end of the spectrum where playing through injuries ruined his career. But there are plenty of players who have had consistent injuries throughout their career that it didn't ruin their career. They just played through pain. So obviously that's not ideal, but I don't think it's unusual for a player to come on like that. Right, let's get on to our final story today then. Ashley Young. The curious case of Ashley Young. The United's club captain. Rumours of him going to Inter because they're just signing everyone. How many players are in Inter squad? Have they got a 40-man squad or something? Mostly consisting of players who are on too much money from the Premier League. I really don't understand their sort of transfer policy at the minute. It's just sign everyone. If they look like they're on the way out of a top 6 team in England, sign them. Eriksen, Lukaku, Sanchez, Young. There's a few more that we're linked with as well. And also there's going to be certainly another one here because this story is that Ashley Young's hopes of joining in to take a blow as Roma's Leonardo Spinazzola is set for a Milan move. So this is in the Telegraph, but it's been reported widely across a lot of publications. Ashley Young's hopes of joining Inter Milan this month have suffered a setback as the Italian club closing on a deal for Roma's left wing back Leonardo Spinazzola. So, that's a gutting one for Young, innit? He looked like he'd set his heart on moving to Inter Milan, and there were reports coming out that he'd sort of refused to play for United if he wasn't going to be a first team starter, which I'll be honest is hard to believe for me. Just what you hear about him in the dressing room and what we've seen of him in his time at United, he doesn't seem to be the kind of player that would refuse to play. But then he hasn't played since those reports came out, so make of that what you will. But it looks as though they will have no need for Ashley Young if this signing goes through, if this transfer is completed. Which I don't think United will be happy with that either. I think United wanted to keep hold of Young through this transfer window by the looks of things. But I don't think he's someone that United are necessarily keen on keeping for the extended future. Certainly not. But it seems as though that move will have fallen through now. Now, let's say Ashley Young has gone to Solskjaer and said, don't play me anymore because I'm moving to Inter. How do you walk in the next day and go, oh, you're right, lads? Yeah. Can I play tonight or what? I am the captain after all. Well, you said you didn't want to play. Yes, I do want to play now. Is that anything to do with Inter Milan signing Roma's left wing back Leonardo Spinazzola? No, I hadn't even heard about that. I just thought Milan's a bit shit actually, innit? So I don't know how he's going to turn that one around. Which is why, to me, it seems as though that may have just been a rumour about him refusing to play, because surely a professional of his standing, he's been a professional footballer for 15 years, maybe close to 20 years, wouldn't know enough about transfers that he's not going to refuse to play for someone before a deal is done at Inter. But you never know, and we'll obviously see as time goes on. We've seen Maguire with the captain's armband yesterday against Wolves, and whether Ashley Young will ever get that captain's armband back again off him now will remain to be seen, especially if he's shown this kind of attitude towards Solskjaer and towards the team. But that's most of the news today. We'll go over that main story that Bruno Fernandes, this is according to publications coming out of Portugal, Ebola being one of them, and it was reported widely across British media as well, that the transfer is essentially as good as done, but Sporting are holding on to him so he can play on Friday against Benfica in the derby for them. And then after that, he will make his move to England, even being in attendance for Man United's game against Liverpool on Sunday. Again, let us know what you think in the comments to that. If you could give the video a like as well, that would be great. If you want Bruno Fernandes to sign for United, like the video. And if you want Ashley Young to play up front for Man United, dislike the video. So I'm stacking the odds there slightly, but it would be a big help if you could like the video. Bruno to Liverpool. Oh, I don't mean that. That ain't going to happen. He ain't signing for Liverpool. He will be at Anfield, not to Liverpool. Yeah, he's not playing for Liverpool. He's coming to Anfield to watch Man United play against Liverpool before joining Man United. We're not even trying to suggest that he's signing for Liverpool. Don't worry about that. Right, yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to... You are? Who? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he's just got a ticket. Maybe he's just a member. Maybe he's just a member for United. He was successful in the ballot. He's got a little away ticket for himself, and he's going to go to watch the game. Who knows? Yeah, we're going to have a podcast later, and we're going to also have a Behind Enemy Lines, which is our new series where we go over to Liverpool with the Redmen TV and talk a little bit about the game coming up on Sunday. So be sure to check those out. Thank you very much for joining us. See you in a bit.